Thank you, that was so beautiful. Come, come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter your gender, whom you love, how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. You are welcome here whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes. You are welcome here. No matter what you have experienced in the past, no matter what awaits you in the future, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. This is a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. Good morning. Welcome to South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. My name is Lindsay, my pronouns are she, her, and I am a tall woman with light brown hair in a blue flowery shirt. It is my privilege to serve as the worship associate for this morning's service. Our worship leader this morning will be Cortney Bouldin. So let us take a moment now to fully arrive and welcome one another with joy, starting with the people in our online audience. If you could turn around and wave at the camera in the back. And then go ahead and say hi to your neighbor, someone that you haven't talked to yet.
My neighbor.
Please rise as you are willing and able for our opening hymn. 1055 in the Teal Book, How Sweet the Darkness. Rick is going to play this through once for us to hear so we can get a feel for how it goes, and then we will sing it together.
You may be seated. I know. My name is Cortney Bouldin. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a tall, middle-aged person with short hair, a beard, and a monochromatic floral shirt. It's good to be your worship leader this morning. It's Memorial Day. It's a day that sits heavy on my heart. It's a day where I remember sacrifices, service, all of it kind of rolls together in a stew. I have a poem that I hope sets the stage for where we're going to go today. It's called A Ritual to Read to Each Other by William E. Stafford. If you don't know the kind of person I am, and I don't know the kind of person you are, a pattern that others made may prevail in the world. And following the wrong God home, we may miss our star. For there is many a small betrayal in the mind, a shrug that lets the fragile sequence break, sending with shouts the horrible errors of childhood, storming out to play through the broken dike. And as elephants parade, holding each elephant's tail, but if one wanders, the circus won't find the park. I call it cruel, and maybe the root of all cruelty, to know what occurs but not recognize the fact. And so I appeal to a voice, to something shadowy, a remote, important region in all who talk. Though we could fool each other, we should consider, lest the parade of our mutual life get lost in the dark. For it is important that awake people be awake, for a breaking line may discourage them back to sleep. The signals we give, yes or no or maybe, should be clear. The darkness around us is deep. And now we'll light our chalice. So if you're willing and able, please stand. As we light our chalice, those at home are invited to light a chalice and share this in this ritual by entering "chalices lit" and the name of your street in the chat box on Zoom. We have Virginia to help us this morning. Please join me in repeating our chalice lighting words and use our actions if you wish. We light this chalice
for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, for the energy of action, and the flames of resistance, for the purpose of liberation.
Thank you, Virginia. You may be seated. And we'll invite all those young and young at heart forward for our time for all ages.
You can come and get one of these. So if you guys want to sit over here, there will be bigger illustrations to see. So today I get to read you one of my child's favorite books. Ren is my kid, and this is one of their favorite books growing up. It's called Stuck. It is by the same author of the Gross Heart book that we did last week. And I do apologize for that, but it has a different vibe. All right? It's called Stuck by Oliver Jeffers. It all began when Floyd's kite became stuck in a tree. He tried pulling and swinging, but it wouldn't come unstuck. The trouble really began when he threw his favorite shoe to knock the kite loose, and that got stuck too. So he threw up the other shoe to knock down his favorite one, and unbelievably, that got stuck as well. In order to knock down his other shoe, Floyd fetched Mitch. Cats get stuck in trees all the time, but this was getting ridiculous. Floyd fetched a ladder. He was going to sort this out once and for all. And you might think that Floyd would use the ladder to climb up the tree, but no. Up he threw it. And I'm sure you can guess what happened. A ladder was borrowed from a neighbor, or the ladder borrowed from a neighbor would definitely need to be put back before anyone noticed. So in order to get the ladder, Floyd flung a bucket of paint at it. And wouldn't you know it, the bucket of paint got stuck. Then Floyd tried a duck to knock down the bucket of paint, a chair to knock down the duck, his friend's bicycle to knock down the chair, the kitchen sink to knock down his friend's bicycle, Floyd's front door to knock down the kitchen sink, the family car. Now at this point we have to wonder if Floyd has supernatural abilities. To knock down the front door, the milkman, who he probably could have been like, "Milkman, will you help me get my kite?" But no. The milkman to knock down the family car, an orangutan to knock down the milkman, who surely had somewhere to be. A small boat to knock down the orangutan, a big boat to knock down the small boat, a rhinoceros to knock down the big boat, a long-distance truck to knock down the rhinoceros, the house across the street. At this point, he definitely has supernatural abilities. To knock down the long-distance truck, a lighthouse to knock down the house. And this part is my favorite. And a curious whale in the wrong place at the wrong time to knock down the lighthouse. And they all got stuck. A fire engine was passing and heard all the commotion. The firemen stopped to see if they could help at all. Can we help at all? And instead of answering the nice fireman who has a fabulous mustache, he decided that he would throw them up there as well. Because clearly that's working. And there they stayed, stuck between the orangutan and one of the boats. Firemen would definitely be noticed missing, and Floyd knew he'd be in big trouble. Then he had an idea. He went and found a saw. And you're thinking to yourself, clearly the boy who has enough strength to throw up a whale could maybe cut the tree down, but no, he also threw that up. And that was it. There was no more room left in the tree, and the kite came unstuck. Floyd was delighted. He had forgotten all about his kite and put it to use immediately, enjoying the rest of his day very much. That night, Floyd fell asleep exhausted. Though before he did, he could have sworn he was forgetting something. And then this is the fireman who is trying to solve the problem here, right? Hang on a minute, lads. I've got a great idea. So I think this book is a really good example of like trying to solve a problem in the wrong way, and instead of admitting that you're wrong, you just keep on doing the same thing. Was that funny? Yeah. I think that is a really great question. Maybe he was a giant. I think it's fun to think about all the different ways that Floyd could have possibly done that. But sometimes adults in particular will try to solve a problem in the wrong way over and over and over again. And we won't mention any names, but maybe the President of the United States is doing some things like that right now. So we're talking about Memorial Day today. Do you guys know what Memorial Day is? What is Memorial Day? Yes.
It's a day to memorize all the people you have lost.
A day to memorialize all the people you've lost, and particularly people who have fought in the military and died. And so we have to bring up the fact that we're in a war right now. And that war to me feels a little bit like that whale that we're trying to throw up and is not going to solve the problem, right? Yeah, we can laugh about it when we're younger. What?
I'm going to dream about that all night.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Anyway, so that's all I have for you guys. Can go ahead and go down with the teachers. Thank you for listening. This community, our church, and its many ministries are only made possible by the gifts that you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Many of you pledge monthly to support our work, and for this we are grateful. Your gifts help us ensure that we are able to live our values of love and justice in the world outside. Part of our ministry at South Valley includes sharing our Sunday worship offerings with a charitable organization that aligns with our principles and values. And then this month's offering goes towards the Friends of the Great Salt Lake. So join me in reading our offertory words. They are on the monitor. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. We will now accept the offering. For those at home, you are invited to use the giving link in the online order of service. I invite the ushers to come forward at this time.
Also, today's offertory music will be a congregational hymn. We're going to sing Dona Nobis Pacem 388 in the Gray Book. This is a round, so it's in 3 parts. So let's do this. We're a little low on numbers today. This is interesting. We'll do 1, 2, and 3. So I'll sing it through once, and then one people join me the next time through. And then when they get to the number 2, this group joins in at the beginning, and so on and so forth. So, Rick, can you give me an F?
For all we have found the courage to give, may we be truly thankful. May these gifts be a blessing to South Valley and to the friends of the Great Salt Lake. I have to admit, in February, I signed up to lead this service, and I had no idea that it was going to be Memorial Day weekend. I also had not known the reality that we would be at war. And when the realization set in, I might be speaking about war and military service during a time when an unpopular president has led us into an unpopular war for reasons that remain unclear, but with consequences that we all feel. I felt resistance. I had resistance to start working, resistance to come up with a plan, resistance within myself. Decades ago, this feeling would have morphed into my own procrastination. I would have put off the task until the last minute. In the small hours of the night before, I would have drafted something, and maybe it would have been fine. What I've learned about myself and my spirit is that my internal workings, my resistances, my blind sides, my reactions are all things worth listening to. And that if I deny them, I'm only denying a part of myself. So I tried a different approach. I leaned into my feelings. Through patience and curiosity, quiet walks, time in my favorite chair, my resistance started to open, and I could see below the tree of my issue to its roots. My daughter is in the 3rd grade. She has an Iranian friend in her class. One day in March, she came home and told me that her friend's president had been killed. She seemed surprised and confused. Why would a president be killed? What circumstances would make this a necessary choice? Time for a family meeting. My wife and I sat down and talked with her about extrajudicial killings sponsored by our government. Not in those words exactly, but that was the topic. We said that there are times when there are humanitarian reasons for these kinds of choices. And maybe that is the case here. But to my eyes, it seems to be about money. Her face was aghast, and her words were, and I quote, "What? We're awful." She's not wrong. And her feeling, which echoes in me, is part of my resistance. Wars are complicated. This war feels particularly gross. For example, usually when we use military force, Congress has a chance to weigh in. A president holds an address where he or she tries to make a case to the country for why war is essential, why people will die for a cause, why citizens should accept the high price of global conflict. I know they are not always honest, but attempts matter. We seem to have reached the "who are we kidding" phase of this presidency. I could fill an hour with things that seem to be at an end with our ongoing political unraveling, and I don't think I would feel any better at the end of it. So I'm guessing that the experience would not be enriching for any of us. So while it feels useful to name the stuckness of this war, and what our leaders throw into the tree next matters, and the things they forget will be ours to live with, it doesn't feel like something I have much influence over. While I'm on the subject, I feel certain there are service members that can claim the same feeling. People that I know who have served in the military have told me that their job is to prevent war. We all seem to have missed our opportunity for influence. I'm neither a pundit nor a historian, so maybe there are better people to speak on the consequences of this conflict. I'm a concerned citizen who's trying to balance keeping up and life, the same as you. So here's a different story. The other day, I was driving to Oregon with a friend. It was a long drive. We had lots of time to talk. It was a beautiful experience where I felt like we had a chance to deepen our connection. The miles rolled along. We talked about our joys and concerns, where we thought our lives were heading, and the big challenges we expected to face. On the way home from Bend, Oregon, after about 15 hours of beautiful scenery and contemplative conversation, a bird flew in front of my car on the interstate, and I hit it. I couldn't stop, I couldn't swerve. All I could do was brace for impact. We were both shocked. We considered our options, and at 80 miles per hour, there wasn't much to do. We kept going. It hurt. I felt guilt and grief. After considerable silence, my friend told me a story about his partner. When they were young, she had done something similar. It must have been a smaller road because she stopped the car. She paced until she found the bird. She held it and she wept. The experience had clearly left a mark on my friend. Our conversation, which had covered many topics over the drive, shifted to grief. Grief for the way that our temporary use of I-80 east of Winnemucca, Nevada, ended a bird's life. Grief for the things that we destroyed on the drive that we couldn't see or hear. Grief for the system of roads and all the things that died in their production. I also named grief for how our way of living blinds us to these realities. Neither of us, my friend, neither of us, me or my friend's partner, expected to kill anything when we climbed in the car for our drive. Confronting all of it felt like a blindside. Grief can be like that. As I grow and become more willing to talk about my grief, I can say that my experience feels common. It's about the bird, and it's also about more than the bird. It's about the war, and it's also about so much more than the war. Grief becomes a container, and when it calls to be open, everything inside is at risk of coming out. I recently finished a book by Francis Weller called The Wild Edge of Sorrow. In it, he names 5 gates of grief. A gate of grief represents a different type of sorrow or loss that we experience that can lead to grief. And yeah, 5. You heard me right. The first gate, everything we love, we will lose. This is the way to grief that I usually think of, so much so that I thought this was all there was. This gate is through the loss of someone or something that we love. It includes family, friends, pets, homes, places that are no longer available to us, life dreams, etc. It's the one that we write sympathy cards and deliver flowers for, the one that's featured in movies and books. It's the most tangible and immediate path to grief. It's hugely important, and I used to think it was all-encompassing. Then I learned about 4 more paths. I'll share them with you now. I find the gates' names to be descriptive, so in the interest of time, I'll go through them quickly and let you explore more in Weller's book if you're curious. The second entry to grief is through the places in us that have not known love. When we shame parts of ourselves and prevent those parts from finding the salve of community, grief results. The third entry is through the sorrows of the world. This gate feels particularly relevant today as we ponder war and feelings about suffering in a global conflict. Importantly, it also includes animals and environmental damage. The fourth entry into grief is through things we wanted and did not receive. We want desperately to be whole, authentic people, surrounded by a village of whole, authentic people. When this doesn't happen because it doesn't fit in our current culture, grief results. The fifth entry to grief is through ancestral grief. Each of us has a heritage and a culture. These come with challenges that have been endured to arrive at the current moment. 5 gates. Before I move on, I'll add that the gates of grief idea has caught on, and there are folks that have added more paths to Weller's original 5. It is meant to be an inclusive framework and not a comprehensive one. But the thing that I love about this way of looking at grief is that it expands the definition of what grief can be. Regardless of how we arrive there, the feeling is the same. There are many more ways to enter than I had appreciated. This felt like it opened something in me and gave me permission to name grief about things that felt like pain before. I don't know anyone currently serving in the armed forces, and yet I feel grief right now about an armed conflict that uses some portion of my tax dollars to indiscriminately harm those on the other side of the globe with no concern for the presence of children. When I gave my resistance space to blossom, it was shaped by grief. I feel grief for the current war, grief for wars of the past, grief for how, if the rhetoric is to be believed, my way of existence, or better put, my privilege, is built on war. I have grief for American naivety and arrogance. I grieve for the wounds to our democratic process. I grieve for the people that are harmed, the animals that are harmed, and the scars that will be left behind. So much grief. It makes me want to stop, pull over to the side of the road and cry. There's no bird to hold. I'm hoping I'm not alone. Community is a salve for grief. There are stages of grief, sure, but what I have learned is that way of talking about grief is really meant to expand the definition of the ways that we demonstrate grief. It helps us realize that denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance are all symptoms of a larger whole. The stages are not a path toward acceptance. We don't move through them linearly, and moving through a stage doesn't mean that we won't return. No. In my experience, the best way to work on grief is to give it space. Take it on walks. Sit in a cozy chair. Invite it into your reality so that it may find a path to your community. Communities heal grief. I love this community. One amazing part of South Valley and Unitarian Universalism more broadly is that we agree that we are all interdependent. As Dr. Martin Luther King preached, we don't belong to ourselves, we belong to each other. This is a place to affirm that belonging. This is a place where we can talk about grief. We can name grief or hold it silently. We can bring grief to our community. We can witness each other in our walks with grief. Grief has a taboo in our culture. In public discourse, there's a tendency to try to fix grief. It feels like the question is, how can I support this stage of grief? Which feels like treating the symptom without giving space for the cause. Lately, I've been spending time talking to hospital patients as they confront difficult circumstances and scary diagnoses. And one of the most important things I have learned is that being present for grief, deep listening, and companioning of suffering has a healing power. Hospitals treat people, but they don't heal people. That was a really strange thing for me to digest, but it's true. Hospitals are a critical part of the process, but once the treatment is done, patients are discharged and asked to heal at home. Community, connection, and shared stories have the power to heal and rest. That's important too. So I wonder if it's possible for us to heal a little today by holding our grief together. You're free to grieve with me for the challenges that I've described that parallel in your journey through this Memorial Day. You're also welcome to bring your own grief into this space. My encouragement is to choose whichever feels most deeply to you. In place of birds, we have rose petals to hold. Just going to pause for a minute. That was a lot, and silence feels nice. So we have 2 stations, one at the back, one at the front. They have roses and a bowl. What we'll do is we'll have a ritual that is similar to joys and sorrows, and we'll use the roses and the bowl. Roses are a symbolic flower here with deep meaning. In this space, they have a special significance in our membership ceremonies. Today, we will, as a group, disassemble roses petal by petal, placing intention into each petal before leaving them to rest in the bowls provided. Those who are joining in the virtual community are invited to use the chat box in the Zoom space to share a specific grief, or, if you prefer, simply place a wilted rose emoji. For those gathered here, you are invited to approach the altar, one of the altars, and remove 1, 2, or 3 petals before placing them in the bowl. I suggest 1 petal to be for the people that are harmed in wars, past or present. I suggest the other petal to be for the ecosystem and the animals that are harmed by war. The third could be for the scars that will be left behind. But these are merely suggestions. Feel free to pause as you select your petal or petals before gently placing them in the bowl. You are invited to practice this ritual in silence. Those gathered here may now begin the procession. I'll add 2 more petals. One for our online community. And another for the grief that is too hard to express, but is still held in kindness.
It's called Use Your Community. Part of acknowledging suffering is acknowledging we need help. It is much easier to practice compassion if you have the energy and support of a community. A community helps us not lose hope. It's not always easy to resolve our suffering alone. We are all unskillful at times. Even if we don't want to harm anyone or create suffering, we do it anyway. We can't be skillful all the time. Every one of us needs help. Find a way to be with others who know how to look and listen deeply, who can help us understand the situation more clearly. This will nourish your compassion. With compassion in our heart, we suffer less, because compassion has the power to heal. Take refuge in a community, and then you will be able to help others as you help yourself.
Our closing hymn is number 1015. Please rise as you're willing and able. Thank you. I recognize that might have been a slight mood shift. So thanks for bearing with me. You never know how these things are going to come out until you stand up here and do it. So we will extinguish our chalice. Please remain standing. You're welcome to use our actions and recite the chalice extinguishing words with me. We extinguish this chalice with the warmth of love, the light of truth, and with the energy of action. The flames of resistance burn within, and we hold each other in our hearts until we meet again. It's Memorial Day. It's the unofficial start of summer. It's an exciting time. As you go out into the world, be excited and remember to make space for your grief. Making space for it is the only thing that helps you move forward. Thank you. Please be seated. Enjoy our postlude.